Hey everyone, Pinch out here and we're back. Oh man, I gotta tell you, what a week. What a week we've had this entire week. I know it's kind of weird to say, but what a freaking week, man. Not my best week, but nevertheless, I'm happy to say I'm alive, and happy and healthy. Just gotta respond to this guy Dylan. But welcome everybody to this episode of PCL's Garage Live. I gotta tell this guy Alright, so let me get on here. I get on that live chat, you know? Get off the Wi-Fi. There we go. So, I know it's super late. I know a lot of you guys are probably not going to watch this. And I'm okay with that. I got to work, so... But if you guys want to join me for some conversation, please join in. You know, that's what we're here for. Right now, I'm installing the ARP head studs for the 20 valve motor, or AKA the 1.8T AWP. These studs only go in hand tighten. You do not torque these studs down at all. I know it's kind of a weird thing to say, but that's how they work. Since they are forged studs, these guys don't shrink, don't contract and expand with heat. They are pretty much a stationary, legit piece of hardware right here. So, if you guys want the part number for these, it's 2044104 for you guys right there from ARP. Very, like I said, best hardware you can get for your head, especially if you're going to try to build a high performance engine. This is the way to go. So they provide you with the stud, the assembly lubricant that's required for it, and you pretty much you thread it, you put it on the threads, just also lightly. Don't like smear a ton of it. You just need like one side to be coated, and then hand thread it in. Man, the head, what a freaking nightmare. Again, I've never had this issue ever with Predator Motorsports where they sandblasted the head. So I had to spend, I was really, that last live stream, I was so frustrated and I was over with my day. So I didn't touch it until tonight. I just finished repairing the head the last 2 hours. Well, not repairing, but cleaning the head over and over to get it working right. Not working, geez, the words I'm using are wrong. To get it looking right so the threads are not destroyed. The threads weren't, none of the threads were cross threaded. It's just they had a lot of material in them from sandblasting, which is, again, very rare that I have a head sandblasted. I've never liked sandblasting, especially with components that are that important, like a head. So it's kind of weird. So once the head is mated to the block, I'm gonna paint it. So David Kane, what's the plan for this motor build then, brother? This one is not my motor. This is a local guy that came by and needed desperate need for a motor build. So I told him to bring me a motor, and I will build it for him for free. I mean, I do all my work for free. I don't charge for it because a lot of these guys are in need, and they run, they have single jobs, they can't afford it, and this isn't for a high performance. This is strictly a stock build. So he bought a motor. So I'm going to give you guys, since we got time, hopefully you got some time, David. David, you got about like 10 minutes to listen to this story? I'll give you the whole story. I'm looking at your comments. What's going on? What a spick? This is like a great photo opportunity. So I'm going to get my phone off of here and get a good picture of this guy. Alright, David, long story short, this guy bought a motor from someone on Facebook, paid $200 for a used engine, and the guy he bought it from used my credit or my name to say it was a good motor. The guy ended up buying the motor, calling me, saying, hey, I got a good motor, and he dropped it off for me to rebuild it for him. In tearing it down, the process, the engine was completely destroyed. Pretty much all the valves were bent. The cams were destroyed. They were pretty much all nuked on the head. The pistons were all hit by the valves. So pretty much the engine was completely useless. I had this engine right here that you see in your view. Perfectly fine. I pulled it out of a running car. Really, really low miles. I think it was under 100,000 miles. And I told him, I go, you can have it. You know, you got screwed by someone that honestly just used my name to sell something, and you were screwed. So I gave him this motor. This is actually my wife's Mark II engine. So I gave it to him in the sense of that he will end up giving me his engine that's in his car that's also going bad, but I'm okay with that because I know it runs. So we pretty much went on a gentleman's agreement that he's going to do that for me. So I told him, buy me all the parts and pay for the machine shop work, and I will build you an engine. Long story short. And because of that, that's why the VW community works, and that's why we all should be helpful for one another, because shit like this happens. It wasn't his fault that he got screwed over at all. And to me, someone using my name to sell something that's not legitimate really pisses me off. And if I ever see that guy on the road, man, or ever in person, I'd give him a piece of my mind. Again, I won't fight him or anything stupid like that, but I honestly just give him the heads up. I hope he's watching this channel. I hope he sees and understands what I ended up doing for him, and the guy had a major loss. He lost $200 plus his time, his me dropping it off, making the trip all the way down here, all that. Yeah, it's just so annoying. And yeah, it is hard to find people that will do stuff for free, honestly. I mean, for me, doing the work, doing this kind of work, for me, even though it's free, how can I say the word? It's rewarding, so oh, that sucks, Mudling. To me, I mean, this is doing this kind of work and helping people. It's just so rewarding, man. I'm not here to make a profit, nowhere near shape or form, but I am here to help you guys. So these ARP studs only go on hand tight, so you put them in as tight as you can by hand. Do not use a ratchet at all. Understand that, guys. At all. No ratchet is allowed to use these studs when you pop it in and install these, because you will have some other fun problems down the road. So now that all the studs are installed, I'm gonna no problem, Thomas. Thank you, Big D. I appreciate that, man. So right now I gotta get my phone really quick. I gotta take a picture of this really quick because this looks really good. I love how these look when they have studs in them. A little bit of black and white action here. Awesome. What if you're really strong? Well, just be reasonable. You know, I got what they call Mexi strength. You know, I know it's kind of a weird word, but it's like Mexican strength. That's what my friend Sam calls it. Yeah. Omar, what brand of tools do I have? Well, I'm what you call a an average Joe. Understand that, Omar. I use Harbor Freight. I don't have a lot of money. I work for Geek Squad. You guys can see my shirt. I'm still in my work uniform. I make a great living to live. My job pays me very well to live. Now, I don't have when my when my wife had a job, you know, I had more money to play around, but you know, that's just the way it is. We're working on that. It's a work in progress. Hopefully my wife can find a good job down the road. She's trying, you know. So here's the head gasket. And let's see here. Boop, 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 boop. Straight down. Now, I only use Victor Wren's for... What's going on, Dale? Yeah, I mean, Harbor Freight is good sometimes, but I use it mostly for hand tools. So, this is a Victor Wren's multi-layer steel head gasket. These are the only gaskets I trust besides an OEM head gasket on a 1.8T or any engine I build. Just so you guys know, I don't put anything else. What's going on, Dale? On my engines or my builds, I refuse to touch any other brand of gaskets. This stuff is phenomenal. Just they hold up so well. All right, so now we're going to bring the head on over. I'm going to move you guys a little bit further back so you guys can see, have a better view of that. You know, my engine work has been proven time after time with a lot of the builds I've done already with my cheap tools, you know. So here comes the head. Now before I put it on, oh god, this sucker's heavy. So you guys can see the beautiful machine work that was done. I lapped all the valves. There we go. Let's see. Yep, this is the crank side. So yes, this is correct. Come on. She's a beauty. Yeah, doing definitely late night building. Now that the head's on, all the studs are down below. Now, here, you wouldn't, Thomas? What? I don't understand what you mean. So all the accessories for the black headliner. All the accessories for a black headliner, you're probably looking at about $100 to $200, depending on condition. Condition is everything, Christian. So if they're all in like legitimate mint condition, yeah, dude, I'd pay $100 to $200 easily. This one always has an issue. These guys are always super tight right here. Break that one loose. Yeah, these two bolt holes here for the cam or for the head stud always are never 100% centered, so they like to bind a little bit. See, once you loosen them up, they make their way down just like that. Now, when you guys do these, understand that you need to hand thread them all the way down. Do not torque these down at all. All right, very important. You always show the right and wrong things to do and not to do. If I wasn't always tattooing, I would be here. Definitely show my respect, bro. I'm still waiting for you to come out. I know I want a tattoo so bad. Mildly, no. The shop that I use for doing all my machine work is Paradise Motorsports in San Marcos, California. Typically for a honed block, decked head, deck block, hot tanked, everything is about usually $400 to $500. I don't know what an APH head is, Dale. Sorry. So there's no thread locker for these guys, just so you guys know. Do not use thread locker on the ARP hardware. It is not recommended or needed. Yeah, if you send them the block completely bare, and I mean like bare, like super bare bones, it's pretty cheap. But if you have them disassemble, all the disassembly and everything, it's going to be expensive because you have to factor in all the labor for disassembling a block. So if you need help with that, please bring it up. Bring the engine to me, and I'll do a full disassembly for you and organize everything for you as well. That way, when you get your engine back, you can pretty much assemble it yourself. I can tear down a 1.8T in like, I think what was the last record I think I had? An hour? I think that's what we did live, a whole hour. to disassemble a full 1.8T. If you took them a complete 1.8T to them and you had them do the disassembly, you're probably going to end up paying easily $600 to $800. Okay, so question: can a 1.8T hybrid oil pan fit on a AWP block? Yes. However, the oil return line will not match up correctly. You need a special adapter or buy the hybrid oil pan oil return line. I'll show you guys the conversion. I actually have the conversion here. This guy ended up buying it for this engine because he ended up going to hybrid oil pan, and it's this little plate right here. So it changes the angle that the return line sits. So this right here, so this is right here at the bottom. This is the original oil line. Okay, this is how the original oil return line goes onto. But with the hybrid pan, it turns it pretty much almost like 85, 75 degrees. So you can't use the factory return line. You have to use an hybrid oil pan return line, or buy this adapter. This adapter runs for like $30 and solves the problem for you. And I got it from Euro Tuning, and here's the part number for it right here, D00201. And so you can find that on Euro Tuning. So we're down to the last 3 bolts or nuts for the head install here. But for everybody who watches my channel, you know, all the time, thank you. For all the new people that watch my channel, thank you for tuning in, guys. Thank you for being a part of this channel. Oil pump fits. Yeah, the oil pump is no big deal. The oil pump again will fit just fine. You can use the oil pickup. I didn't use it, but apparently you need a different oil pickup. I didn't need it. My 1.8T uses the factory oil pickup, but some people recommend it. I don't know. I didn't know that there was a difference on the oil pickup tube, but some people are saying yes, some people are saying it doesn't matter. My personal experience, I didn't use it. I'm just telling you that right now. I did not use it. Rob Hartmer, best way to bleed your coolant system. Open the coolant reservoir and let the car run for about 24 to half an hour. 24 minutes to about 30 to 45 minutes. What's going to happen, you need to start squeezing the lower and upper hoses and watch pretty much all the bubbles come out. Once you stop seeing bubbles coming out of the system, turn on the heater and keep doing it again. It's going to get really, really hot. What you want to do is wait until the thermostat opens. The lower radiator hose will be cold for a good half an hour. The lower radiator hose will be cold because the thermostat hasn't opened yet. Once the thermostat opens, you're going to feel the lower radiator hose get really hot pretty quick. Then turn on your heater at full blast. Make sure that you're not using an AC or anything like that. Just the heater itself. Don't turn on the AC system, just heater. Remember that. And what you're going to do is you're going to watch the coolant level go down a little bit, and it'll go up really quick. Keep an eye on that, because what's going to happen is it's going to boil over, and you're going to lose a lot of coolant. All right. So it's going to happen, and that's okay, because you're letting the system pretty much air out on its own naturally, because once the bubbles get really, really hot, they're going to find the path of least resistance, which is going to be your coolant reservoir. Once you see it start bubbling over, immediately turn the car off, put the radiator cap on, and let it settle for about 10-15 minutes, and repeat the process. I recommend, the process is called burping. I recommend doing that pretty much 2 times, and fill it back up one more time with coolant, and go drive it. That's it. All right, so Thomas Morris, my Mark IV is getting up there in age, 199,000, needs love, timing, etc. Rebuilt engine might be more safe. In opinion, the cheapest 1.8T you built on stock rods, minor valve train upgrade. So pretty much a full stock rebuild. Believe it or not, just gaskets alone, and then you're going to need piston rings. Yes, it is normal to have smoke coming out of it, Rob. So piston rings, rod bearings, main bearings, head bolts. Even if you use factory bolts for the head, you're going to have to lap all the valves. You're going to need all the gaskets for pretty much the entire engine. Just parts alone, if we cut some corners, not reusing some of the parts, like the chain, but a new tensioner, oil pump. We're going to have to spec out the oil pump, make sure it's still within factory specifications. If everything is to stock specs, you're probably, just parts alone, not including any of the machine shop work, you're looking at about $1,000. Yeah, just on parts alone. Again, this is shopping. You have to pay attention and shop for your parts. Be smart on where you buy them. Don't cut corners buying cheap like eBay or Chinese copies. You only buy German hardware. Do not buy anything outside of the German world for parts. But all said and done, you're probably looking about $1,200 to $1,400. Again, it's cutting it really close. If you have me build it, I actually have about another. If you have a machine shop do the build for you, you're probably looking at about $2,000 to about $2,400. If you have me build it for you, you're looking at pretty much, because I do all the labor for free. You guys just pay for the machine shop work and the gasket and the parts. Again, you're going to probably look around $1,200 to $1,400 for a full rebuild. But at the end of the day, a full rebuild with a lot of reused parts, it's going to last you another 100 to 150,000 miles easily, as long as you properly maintain the engine. A properly rebuilt engine will last you pretty much another lifetime for the car. So now everything is hand tightened. All right, guys. Now this is one thing I get a lot of questions from everybody, because studs are very different from bolts. ARP bolts or OEM bolts, you torque them two times, and then you do the quarter turn, or I can't remember the exact process. But on ARP, you don't do a 90 degree. You only do torque. So, and I always push this a lot when people. What have I gotten away with reusing? Well, you can reuse valves, rods, and pistons. You can reuse your cams and the chain, and pretty much that's it. That's pretty much all of the most important parts of your internal. Everything else has to be replaced. Rob Hartmer. You have a lot of blow-by. 1.8Ts are naturally, all engines in general naturally have a lot of blow-by. It's normal. What you have to be concerned for is burning oil. There's a big difference between blow-by and burning oil. Best way to find out if you're burning oil fill up your your oil. When you do a fresh oil change, drive it for 1,000. Check the level on the dipstick. Write it down. Drive it another 1,000. Check the level. And welcome, Kieran from England. Greetings from the other side of the pond. And then at 3,000 miles, check the dipstick one more time. Now, every single time, record the height of the dipstick. Now, if you lose more than 2 quarts within 3,000 miles, your rings are on their way out. 2 quarts of oil for 3,000 miles is not the greatest oil consumption on 1.8 Ts, because these are not direct injected. These are normal basic engines. There's nothing crazy. So if you burn more than 2 quarts of oil within 3,000 miles, definitely look into either compression tests to make sure the rings are holding, and a leak down test to make sure your head is not failing. Maybe the valves need to be lapped, or you have a valve guide failing, because then oil will go through that and burn. If the piston rings are legit, then you're probably not burning oil through the piston rings. You're probably burning oil through your head. Those are 2 places that you can burn oil, just so you know. And again, blow-by is a natural process for these cars. Okay, for these engines, they will have blow-by. Doesn't mean it's a bad thing. It's just, that's just how they work. That's how they run. Oh, from South Africa, welcome. Thank you, Al. 1400 going to be well saved. I have 3 1.8Ts, so 1 headed your way. MK4 Wolf A4 Avant. Nice. I'll take 1. I'll help you out, buddy, whenever I can. So, back to the ARP. Super, super important, guys. When using ARP fasteners, especially when we're using what we call the stud instead of bolts, understand what it means very specifically. Number 1, on option number 5, hand tight only. It's actually very important. Greetings from India, Boosted Z. Welcome. That's super cool. Hand tight only. Okay, this is very important that you understand that. So the studs that we put in strictly are hand tightened. You do not use a ratchet or an Allen wrench. I use an Allen wrench just to get a grip, but I didn't use a ratchet in conjunction. Only the Allen wrench, and that was just the straight socket one, so I can not put it too tight. So super important. That's your first step. Okay, so next, if you read further down, option number 8. It says, following manufacturer's recommended torque sequence. Understand that. Torque sequence. Tighten the nuts in 3 equal steps. Okay? 3. We're not, and you'll see it says tighten. It does not say to do a quarter turn or anything like that. It's just strictly tightening. Okay, guys? What would cause low oil PSI at hot idle? Failing oil pump, mainly. We're finishing off an engine, James. Estonia. Where is Estonia? Very interesting. Your Golf MK2 videos have been very helpful. You're welcome, Kupel. Moldy. James, have you checked the oil pump? Oil pickup isn't clogged. That's another thing I was going to say to him as well. The oil pickup tube, very common for getting clogged. Right here it says tighten the nuts into 3 equal steps. 2. Understand that. Super important. 2 80 foot-pounds. It doesn't say do it 80 foot-pounds 3 times, okay? So you divide this into 3. Okay, so that kind of ends up being about 26 foot-pounds, 27 foot-pounds. But every time, so we torque everything down the first time, okay, to 27 foot-pounds. Then you double that to like, what is it, like 50-something pounds, okay? Chidi from Estonia, well, welcome. That's super cool. I never worked this late online live, so this is really cool. I'm actually pretty excited to meet other people from around the world. So, and then the third time, like I said, 27, you're a little bit over 50. Then you add the last whatever amount, and it adds to 80 foot-pounds. So you do that 3 times, okay? You torque spec it 3 times in total, adding up to 80, not 27, and then that adds to 80. It doesn't. It's 27 plus 27, 50, and then plus whatever. Yeah, 26, 52, 80. Perfect. Yeah, that's exactly what you have to do. 26, 52. Yes, Rob, I work for Geek Squad. Been there for 12 years, man. I love my job. I've been an advanced computer technician for over 12 years. I've been doing computer work way early 2000s. I've been doing actual, like, I'm a hardcore, like, nerd, man. When it comes down to computer stuff, whew, God, I love it. So we're gonna get our torque wrench here. Oh, we can use my new one. My new one provided by Ivan. There we go. Ivan was really awesome. He donated a really nice Craftsman torque wrench for me. This is actually the most expensive tool in my toolbox, by the way, guys. That was given to me by Ivan, donated by a local friend. And dude, I teared up, honestly. It's the first time someone's ever given me something like this, and it's pretty emotional. I'm not gonna lie. So yeah, it was pretty cool. So your torque sequence is very important. James, I'm actually getting ready to start. I'm actually getting ready to start learn how to get AEM certified for. I want to learn how to become an AEM certified tuner. I've been going online doing some research on what is needed, and I'm actually pretty excited for that. It's not cheap, so I have to save up a lot of money to do it, but I want to do it. I really do. So I got my paper here for my torque sequence. So again, 26, 52, 80. $20, 4, 5, 6, bam. All right. So in order, so you guys can see this. I'm going to bring you guys behind my over the shoulder look, so you guys can see the torque sequence here. Super important. So here's number 1. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. That is the torque sequence, guys. I'll get you as close as I can so you guys can see this, because it's super important. So, first one. Here we go. And this is the first one at 26 foot-pounds, all right? 1. Doesn't take much. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. And the last one. 10. All right. Now we gotta set the torque wrench to 52. There's 0, 51, 52. So you guys can see that. Luis, what's up? Super late live today. Huh? Quick question. What engine code for 2005 July? There should be AWP for a 2005. The last engine code was for Jetta, GTI was AWP from 2002 and until the end of pretty much the end of that generation. Even for an automatic is AWP. The Beetles had different engine codes. So Beetles had different engine codes for that generation as well. All right, so now we're at 52 foot-pounds. Right here, back at number 1. So now it's going to get a little harder to torque these. So you got 1. Yeah, you're welcome, Luis. 2. Oh, there goes the engine. 3. 4. 5. 6. 'Hold on. Give me a minute, James. 7. 8. Sorry if I'm dragging you guys along with me. 9. Last one. 10. Oh yeah, we're gonna need a knee. I'm gonna be on the other side so it pulls against me versus me pulling away from it. For sure. So the last one. So I gotta get it in front of me. Oh no. I can't do that. Because I don't want to mess up my sequence here. So it's gonna suck. Pinche, thoughts on an AWD head? That's what I'm running with a wideband conversion. I heard they have different wrist pins. The head doesn't have wrist pins. The block does. Oh, Luis, I'm getting your VR running this weekend. Be excited. I finally got everything I've been searching for at the junkyards and stuff. So I have everything I need. I'm gonna get your VR running either Saturday or Sunday for Easter, buddy. It's gonna be an Easter miracle. I'm so excited. So I'm gonna end up holding this at an angle like this. All right, here we go. 80. Come on, buddy. There we go. 81. Just sucks I'm working out one arm. 2. Whew. 3. Oh, I hate doing these so much. It just feels like I'm going to break something, but I know I'm not going to break it. I'm on number 4 now. Five. Yeah, that heater core. Come on. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm on 6. Okay. No, 7. Nine, 8. Nine. Last one. This sucker's built. Don't need that in my way. 10. All done. Whew. That feels good. Yeah, man. Yeah, the worst is over now. Now pretty much we're down to right over here. What people dread so much on these engines is timing. I don't know what the fear is. People just don't like doing timing on 1.8Ts. It's so easy, honestly. It really is. It's just people just scared of it, man. Don't be scared. Just take your time. And what's cool, Volkswagen gives you marks for everything. It's super cool. So the next step here on this guy is to time it. Now we have the crank gear here. It's bolted on, but we're not gonna no, we're using ARP studs for the head. We don't use stretch bolts for the head. I never do. I don't like using them. So on this part, we're gonna pretty much install the water pump. We have a brand new front main seal. We're gonna put the water pump, the tensioner, the idler pulley, and the cam gear, and then get it all put in. And yeah, timing is scary, but the cool thing is that Volkswagen provides you with the information you need to do it right. They give you the proper timing marks on the crank, on the valve cover, so you don't mess up. That's, I mean, literally that is the point, is to not mess up. It's scary, yes, but it's, once you understand how the timing marks work on these engines, it's a cakewalk afterwards. I haven't put in the new crank bolt yet because I always do that last once everything's put together. It's not hard to do it. So the next step again is to put all your parts in, but do not put your belt in. So let's get it going. I know it's 1 in the morning. I gotta go to work in the morning, but I'm gonna work. You know. So we got this new water pump. So let's see here. There we go. There we go. Let's see here. Oh, where's the rest of the parts? Oh, they're over here. So I always use Continental belts for timing belts, the best belts out there. If you guys are building a high performance engine and you use the Gates Racing Blue Belt, do not, what's it called? Do not use the blue Kevlar belt with a hydraulic tensioner. You have to do it with a manual tensioner. If not, you're going to prematurely fail pretty much your water pump and actually the hydraulic tensioner. Since that belt does not stretch very well, they don't last very long, honestly. With my build, I have a 450 horsepower 1.8T, and I still use a Continental belt. However, I replace it sooner than later. I replace my belt every 50,000 miles just because you don't want it to snap. But I prefer these belts over the Blue Gates belt. That's a rear main seal. Don't need that. Got the tensioner. Don't need that. There we go. So I only use German parts when building all my VWs. So try to stick with using German parts. Stay away from the cheap Chinese stuff or the cheap AutoZone parts. Just don't do it, man. Metal. Go with the metal water pump. They tend to last longer and they have a better. They fail. That's what this hole is for. Where is it? I believe this is the weep. No, there's a hole right here, right on top, by the number 1. It's called a weeping hole. These have a better failure rate. So I know it's kind of a weird thing to say, like a better failure rate, but what I mean by better failure rate is if they fail, the impeller will still spin, but it will leak out. Where a plastic one, where you don't know if the impeller failed, but it will weep. And these will stay on longer, but they will weep and they'll still spin. So you get a little bit better chances of the pump failing. I know it's kind of a weird way of saying that, but you have a little bit of security. Okay, so give me a second here. I gotta get the hardware for this. Where did my hardware go? Here's my hardware. Oh yay! Oil pan. Oh yeah, this one didn't have that stuff on it. Hi, Chihuahuas. Sorry guys, give me a moment. Rear main seal. Front main seal. Timing. Gotta need that one. Don't need that yet. Timing components. There we go. All right. So one thing, make sure you have your timing cover and your harmonic balancer for this, okay? Very, very important. Now, one thing I'm going to show you guys, this is the trick of getting the belt on without, do not bolt all this stuff down. Just put it like 2 or 3 turns and that's it. Same with this guy. Put it in about 2 to 3 turns and leave it alone. You want a little bit of slop when installing, where is this? There we go. When installing your belt. There's a little trick that I learned when doing these all the time. Now this is only during a rebuild. This is not during a fully built motor. Don't do this. It's already assembled. I leave everything nice and loose because, again, a little bit of slop helps out a lot. Yeah, that rhymed. Okay. So you guys can see, the next thing is you need your lower timing cover. I gotta find mine, so give me a second here, guys. I don't know where it went. I don't remember if I had one with this car. And that might be a big problem. Tenemos un gran problema. We have a really big problem. Because I don't think I have a lower timing cover. It makes things a little bit more difficult. Because I want to show you guys the easy way of timing these engines. And there is an easy way, but we need the part. Because I have the valve cover, but I don't have, I can't find my, oh, here it is. I found it. Let's see, this is the upper one. Here's the lower one. All right. Woo, we got it. All right. Cool, cool, cool. All right. So first things first, you need the valve cover on. Oh yeah. Yeah. I gotta take out the tensioner tool. Yes, you do time the stroke 1.8T the same way. We need an actual 10 millimeter, not a 5 millimeter. I'm not going to tighten this guy down. We're talking about 5 for maybe these guys, but yes. I got to take out the tensioner tool. Hold on. Gotta get that sucker off. Oh, the one for the cam. Okay, so that guy's off. That way the valve cover will go down. So the valve cover is super important. It has the marker that we need to time the head. You'll see right now we're currently off by 1 tooth. I will mark this with a little Sharpie for you guys so you guys can see that. That's super important that we have our marks visual so you guys can see. So this is where we need to be. This is where we're at. So we need to rotate the cam over a full tooth using a 16mm socket. And then once you have the head set correctly, now the reason why it's off, just so you guys know, right off the bat. Hold on, let me guys move you a little bit more up. I'm moving. Give me just a second. I'm getting the camera all set up for you guys, so you guys get a good view of this. I'll wait for for you guys. There we go. I can't get any closer because if I go closer, it's gonna, yeah. So this is the mark right here. There's a notch on your cam gear, and there's a notch on the valve cover. We're off by 1 tooth to the left. Right now it's off by the left, so we have to rotate the engine to the yeah, it's off to the left. We got to rotate the engine to the right, or the head only. And after you have this set, and the reason why it moved over, number one, is because once you tighten all the cam caps, it will move the head counterclockwise because of the springs. So just remember, okay? So very, very important for you guys to know that. So the notch is here. All right, guys, this is a little notch. So we get my socket and a 16. And then what we're going to do, and there we are. So we're set there. All right, now before I do anything over here, I have to go down here on the crank gear. Now this gear, you have to put your lower cover first on. And on your lower cover, it's going to be hard to see, but I'm going to show you guys. Really close. There's a little stump, like a little knob right there. That right there is the timing mark for the crank, okay? That I don't know, buddy. I don't know for you. But there's a little stub right here. That's your marker for your lower timing. Okay, you only need the lower timing cover for this. So make sure you have this. This is that important, okay? What's also super important that you have the hardware for the lower timing cover. Because you don't want this to move around and shift on you. So you're going to be taking this, this pretty much, this lower cover multiple times on and off to confirm how you guys do this, okay? It's a little annoying. I despise doing it, but it's just one of those things, man. It's timing. It's scary when people do it. People freak out every time, so... Okay. So this is kind of your orientation for almost everything. And you'll notice not everything's bolted on all the way. There's reasons for that, okay? Okay, so you need that. Now you need the harmonic balancer. Now on the harmonic balancer, there's also a mark. You guys can see that right here. There's a notch right there. That notch lines up with this one on here. Now, one thing you guys got to learn about harmonic balancers on 1.8Ts, they only go on one way. So, you're timed correctly when you put them on. That's what matters about. That's why they're so vital to these cars. So you can put in 2 of the bolts for the harmonic balancer. Just make sure they're opposite from each other. Okay? And now my timing mark for this is way off. I'm all the way down here. I'm pretty much on the very bottom. I have to rotate this over. This is a 12.19, guys. Alright? Just so you guys know that. The socket for the harmonic balancer is a 12.19. Very, very important. What we're going to do, rotate the engine. Since the head is timed, we don't have to worry about hitting the valves. Since the head is already timed correctly, the valves are all the way up and closed, so we don't have to worry about bending anything. So here we are. Right there is the timing mark. So now, all right, Luis, have yourself a good night. So now we're timed. Now, one thing you guys are going to understand about the harmonic balancer, and when it's timed, it has about half a tooth of play left and right. This is what people freak out a lot about. These timing marks, because I can legitimately move the crank left and right almost a full half tooth and the engine does not spin. If you had the head off and then you did this left and right, the piston will not move at all, because that is pretty much the calm before the storm. When it hits TDC, top dead center, that means this is the point that the crank and the valve are at the very top on cylinder number 1. Okay, so now that we know that we're timed here, the next step here is to pull everything back off. I know it's dumb, but this is how it works. Now, as you're doing this, focus on one thing importantly. All right, guys? When you're taking this cover off, give yourself a timing mark. Since we know this is already set to TDC, give yourself a visual timing mark now on the crank gear so you don't mess up. So if you do move the tooth in the wrong direction, or the belt in the wrong direction, and it moves over it incorrectly, you are going to be at the right spot. Okay, so we know that we're timed 100%. So we're going to use this notch with this notch right here. This is a good visual representation right now of a timing mark, because this lines up perfect with this little notch right up here. Cameron Allen, we just showed you that. You kind of tuned in right at the last minute, buddy. We just walked you through on how to set TDC on the bottom half. Rewind the video, you'll see it. It's super simple. So I have now a timing mark that's not on the cover, not on the crank. It's visually right in front of me. This is really cool because now you know where TDC is on the crank, and you still have TDC up here on the head by the cam gear. So now this is officially timed. This is ready to have a belt installed. Okay, now when installing the belt, do not put it all the way on like this. Okay, put it on about, I say, 1/8 of the way. All right, now what we want to do is to prevent the crank from spinning when we tension, because the engine rotates to the right, to the left, I mean. No, right, clockwise. Let's see here. Okay, nope. See, now the crank gear is moving to the left. Doesn't the piston to around twice in between it though? I don't know what you mean by that, Cameron. Give me a better description about that. This is where it becomes really annoying to install these guys. Right here. Because what we're trying to do is eliminate all the slack here on this side of the engine, because the tensioner is going to do all the work for us. And there you go. So now, I know, I hate putting this belt on too. This is why we don't bolt everything down in one place. So all the slack has to go away here, just so you guys know that, okay? Make sure there's no slack on this side of the belt. Once you do that, you'll see my water pump is kind of at an angle right now. This is kind of at an angle. This is a little bit. This is a little bit. The reason why all that's there is so you can get it over the hump on this guy. Okay? But right here's TDC. Right here's TDC. We are officially 100% timed on this engine. Now, we have to confirm this. How do we confirm that we're timed 100%? We rotate the engine. Do not pull the pin on the tensioner, okay? All right, don't pull the pin on this guy, all right? So what we're going to do is tighten all this stuff down good and tight. Do not torque everything down. Just put it on tight. Just nice and snug. That's it. Now this method was taught to me by Ray. Ray taught me how to do it this way, and I love it because it's a lot easier. You guys saw how easy that was. Okay, so when the engine is in the car, there's an easier way to do it. Just mark everything, pretty much. So mark your belt, mark your gear, everything has to be marked. Once you have everything marked, copy the marks on the other belt and line the marks on the teeth everywhere, and you're done. Just put them on. That's the easy way of doing it. I need my ratchet. That one's a little bit more snugger than normal. All right, everything's tightened down. Now, put your lower timing cover back on. Okay guys, just so you know, you can do as many retries as you want. Yes, it is that simple, James. Remember, you can do this as many times as you want, but once you pull that hydraulic tensioner pin, it's going to be a lot harder. Okay, so I recommend you guys taking your time when doing this. If you have to repeat it, do it over. No, you don't have to worry about TDC because it's you don't have to worry about TDC as much because you're just taking a belt off, putting it back on, and you're not changing parts. However, okay, set it to TDC before you mark it. Simple. That way, if you do mess up or you have the wrong spot, you're still on TDC. Okay? A lot of moldy, I mean, yeah. Some people say don't mark it. Again, for moldy, understand, some people are doing this for the first time. Why not learn how to do it as easy as possible? You know, let them do it. Once they understand the process, then by all means, go for it, you know? Okay, so remember how we talked about how the pulley will change its direction? So we got to move the belt over, and we're going to see if the marks line up correctly. Because we're about half a tooth off, so... But the reason why, go back, is because, I'll show you. Remember what I told you guys, when you put this, you have about half a tooth in each direction because how sloppy the TDC is. Don't fret, don't go crazy. It happens because it's part of it's the nature of how loose this spot is, so don't freak out. So, a lot of people freak out when that happens. They're like, oh my god, it's off by like a tooth. No, it's not. Our marker here lines up with this, and our marker here lines up with this. So that means the head is timed, and it also means that the crank is timed. Even though I moved it left and right, it's okay because you have that variation or that slop in left or right. So it's going to happen because this belt, okay, is going to make it move in one direction. It's normal, okay? You have to use both marks. You can't just use the top instead. You have to use top and bottom. All right? So now that's done. Moment of truth. Time to crank the engine. Do not crank your engine counterclockwise. You have to crank your engine clockwise, guys, okay? So now keep in mind that this mark has to line with this mark when you do full 2 rotations, okay? Not 1, but 2 full rotations. So here we go. Whew. So I'm using the cam right here as my marker for rotations. So right now we just did 1 full cycle. Okay, and now we're going to do 1 more. Now, since I'm doing a full rotation and it's not difficult to rotate the engine, we know number 1, the valves are not hitting. Number 2, we know that timing is on point because, again, these are what they call interference engines. So if something's wrong, the pistons and the valves are going to hit. If you're off by more than a tooth, the valves and the pistons are going to hit, and it's going to prevent you from rotating the engine. That's how you know you're off, like big time. So here's the second rotation, and now we're going to see if we're timed. And look at that! Woo! We are timed. Well, it's moving back, but again, the cams are on springs, so the cam will try to rotate backwards. But right there, the timing mark matches. Timing mark matches. That means the engine is 100% time. That means you can pull the grenade pin. That means you're ready to put everything else back together and get this bad boy back in your car and ready to run. That is how you do 1.8T timing, guys. All the bolts that we just installed, they are torque spec to 11 foot-pounds, by the way. This guy, I don't remember off the top of my head. Same with this guy, I don't remember. And this one, I don't remember either. But I'll get to that later. But yeah, that's pretty much how you time a 1.8T. Super easy. I know, but people freak out. 100%, man. People freak out. And I understand. It sucks. I mean, it's scary stuff. Believe me or not. When I first learned how to do these engines, I freaked out all the time. Because you're working with an engine. I mean, this is what takes you back and forth to work. James, that is correct. The harmonic balancer only goes in one way. It will only line up with the 4 bolts there one time. It's impossible to put the balancer on incorrectly. I'm just telling you that off the bat. So yeah, no, again, I panicked the first time I ever put an engine together. I had Ray come over in the middle of the night to help me do it because I was freaking out. I didn't know what to do. Because I couldn't fix the slop here, and I had all the slop over here. But now he told me, put the belt on this way and make sure there's no slop, there's no back and forth motion where the belt is all loose. Make sure that's all nice and tight, and then when it comes over here, since the tensioner is what's doing all the work, this is what has to have all the tension, and it will fix itself pretty much. So now we did 2 full rotations. The head and the block are now officially lined up. It's done. It's done. I just got to put in the oil pan, and then pretty much all the gaskets over here. I'm going to paint the block tomorrow. So we got to mask all this off and paint it all over here and over there to make it look pretty. But it's done. Engine's ready for pretty much for assembly and to go back home. Again, a fellow random person. I don't even know the guy who owns it. Honestly, I barely know the guy who owns this car or this engine, and now he's gonna have a Pinchial's Garage built engine again for free of charge, because that's how Pinchial's Garage works. If you guys are enjoying this video, please go to Indiegogo.com and donate. For more content like this to happen, next season at Pinchial's Garage isn't gonna happen unless we raise the money for it. So please, thank you. Go to Indiegogo.com, look up Pinchial's Garage, and donate. All amounts of money we take. $2 minimum donation is $2. We're trying to raise $15,000. We've already raised $1,500. We're still very far away from our goal, but raising that money will help us create over a year's worth of content on this channel. And we're doing this because, again, my wife lost her job, and with her losing her job, I have no more disposable income. So we're relying on relying on Indiegogo and you guys, all my YouTubers and subscribers, to donate to help for the future of this channel, to create more content like this and give you guys way more fun live experiences and having fun in general, building cars. The cool thing is, with that money that we raised, we're going to build a car strictly for you guys, and you guys are going to have 100% control on how to build a car. And once the car is built, you guys get to win it. Plain straightforward. There's no raffle. I'm just going to pick a random person, and then they win the car. And we'll do it all live, and it's going to be super cool. You guys are going to completely control how the car is built. You guys are going to pick which car we're going to build, and pretty much the entire process will be controlled by the subscribers. And that's the kind of the goal where we have here at Pinche Al's Garage for the next season. Again, we're trying to raise that money as soon as possible because I have no more content. Patreon is actually paying the bills here for the new content that we're making for the VR6, but they have private content. So if you guys want to become a Patreon member, we are having also patreon.com, where you guys pretty much subscribe to a private channel, and you guys get exclusive content plus a chance to win a car as well on that section privately. Patreon.com, and then look up Pinche Al's Garage, join that. Every quarter you guys get a goodie box and a bunch of other cool exclusive content only for Patreon members. They get the content a week early, you guys get it a week after. So we have a lot of new content actually coming to YouTube after all the subscribers pretty much, or my Patreon members, get their content. So thank you. Hopefully that sinks in and that makes sense, and you guys get to join in as well. Let's see, my 1.8T is giving me a headache. My boost is spiking and then cutting, then building again, cutting and building. So always stays above 5. I tried to replace it in 75. You have a boost leak, buddy. Cameron Allen, you have for sure a boost leak. Thomas, really easier than I thought. The crank moving during timing, but it's actually free play in the balancer. Yep, I was afraid that you have to set the tooth back. Ideal marking seam key. Exactly. Man, you're awesome. I wish the best of you for you and your family. I'll donate as soon as I can. Again, we're taking $2 donations minimum, all to it, whatever you guys want. Again, it helps a lot. But yeah, thank you for watching the entire build process. We pretty much slapped on the head. We did all the torque specifications for that. We did timing. Now I just got to do torque specs and paint it. And then you guys get to see it. I'm going to paint it on Tuesday, so stay tuned for that as well, guys. Thank you. Best of luck. Biggest support of on this effort, Al. Thank you for keeping up with us with the Pinche content. Dude, anytime, Thomas. Anytime. But your issue is definitely boost leak, by the way. No, not you. Cameron. Cameron's issue is for sure boost leak. They're hard to find, so have fun finding that boost leak, buddy. Anything else, guys, before I say goodbye? It is 1:30 in the morning right now here in California. Do you know any good replacements for those C-clips that connect to charge pipe and the hose? C-clips. Are you talking about the ones that, like, the metal one that couples down below? How can I measure or make sure the waste gauge is right? Use a boost gauge. Nick Pryor. Boost gauge is the only way it's going to give you if the waste gauge is correct. By default, your waste gauge should be set to 10 to 11 psi. Not your boost gauge. Your waste gauge should be set to 10 to, I think, 10 psi by default. There should be, I think there's a way to test it by pulling. There's a specific vacuum line you pull and you cap it, and it will only boost to that. So yeah. No, you have to pull the motor, James. How can I, let's see, do you know a good replacement for those C-clips? Cameron Allen, I mean, if you're going to try to do the charge pipe, I would look up charge pipe upgrades. There's actually quite a few companies that make upgrades for that pipe. Yes, James, new piston rings as well. Yeah, if you're going to put rods in, why go halfway on a build when you could just fully refresh the engine and get it running right and refresh it. I mean, then you break it in and then you could go freaking boost it to high hell and have fun with it. You know? That's my personal opinion, but personally, I mean, I don't like building engines half-ass. I know it kind of sounds weird, but if you build them right, you don't have questions or concerns in the back of your mind, you know? Cameron, not Eurojet, but someone like Eurojet. There's a couple other companies that make them. I don't know the name offhand, but that's what you're looking for, exactly. I'm having an issue with my 1.8T. The car keeps blowing the turbos, smoking a lot. Caesar, that's a hard one to tell you. I can't help you diagnose that one without seeing the car. Oh man, I don't have an answer for that one, buddy. Definitely sorry for that. It keeps blowing turbos. Interesting. Very interesting issue. The only thing I can find, 34 silicone, pancake pipe, charge pipe. I appreciate the insight. I'll do the best I can. Blown turbo. Again, the way he's saying, Caesar, he's like, he keeps blowing turbos. Meaning he's doing it, it's happening more than once. I don't know, man. That's a big, weird issue. I don't have an answer for that. Eurodyne, I don't have experience with them, but they're legit. I'll tell you that. Eurodyne is a great product, but I don't have personal experience with them, but I know lots of people that do. It is good stuff. I mean, I'm being honest with you. Do you think a stroker is good for 500 horsepower? Yes, of course. Now, let me explain how strokers work. Give me a second here. I need to get my back is on the fritz right now, so I need to get a chair. Sorry. There we go. There we go. Hopefully this helps. Do you have experience with Eurodyne? I already answered that. Do you think a stroker is a good idea for 500 horsepower? Thank you again, Al. I hope you have a great evening. Appreciate the information. Okay. So for Black P Gaming, do I think a stroker is good? Okay, so now when you stroke out an engine, you're increasing the volume of air that your engine can create. So by increasing air, you're increasing exhaust flow, which means you can spool a turbo much faster, making power faster, and you're making more power because you have more volume. So yes, it is an awesome way to go to build 500 horsepower, to make a 500 horsepower power, and it helps you spool a lot faster. So this going stroker only has benefits. There's no downside to going stroker. It's just more benefits on doing a stroker. The only con by going stroker is cost. It's not cheap. Stroker kits are not cheap because you need a crank, you gotta get pistons, you gotta get rods. I mean, there's a whole entire 9 yards of building an engine. But at the end of the day, it's a benefit. All of it are benefits besides the cost. So hopefully that makes sense. Do you know any cams I discontinued theirs? There's only one Autotech cat cam. So Cameron, for cams, SPA Turbo, USA, also the Brazilian site, they offer cams for 1.8T and they're legit. They're good cams. But if you're going to use their cams, don't just put cams in an engine. Definitely upgrade the valves and the springs. You're going to need to have an upgraded valve train due to the fact that when you're upgrading cams, you're upgrading the rotation, so the duration of the lift and it's closing, meaning you have a higher chances of having valve float, which means you have a bigger chance of bending valves and destroying pistons. So factor that into your cost if you're going to buy cams. A lot of people always say, oh, I just put street cams and all that, but Believe it or not, a lot of you guys will be like, oh no, just, install it and send it. By all means, go for it if you're willing to, but just don't quote me on it. It's not something I would recommend. Off the bat, I would definitely upgrade, do some head work, be ready for some extra change, just not just installing cams. Even when you do like a VR6 and you do the 264 cam upgrade, they recommend at least swapping out the springs to HD springs, just because you need that stiffer spring to bring that valve a lot faster up. Because again, when you're using cams, it's a longer duration. You got to make sure that valve comes up before it touches before it kisses that piston. So very, very important. Any other questions before I call it a night? I'm looking right here on my phone, making sure, I answer you guys' questions. I mean, no one else is responding, so I guess I'm going to call it a night, guys. If you guys have any more questions, best size drop-in cam. Pretty much, again, I don't think you listened to my comment, Nick. 1.8Ts don't need cams. They only need cams only if you're going to go big power. If you're going outside of the 400 horsepower range, then drop in some cams. But if not, you're not going to benefit. You're going to see very, very minimal games for almost $500. Not worth it. So for Black P Gaming, single groove or triple, it all depends on your build. Triple for your keepers. Triple groove is stock style, so it depends on the valves that you purchase. Again, for Rahu, again, you're asking for cams for 1.8T. If that's the case, you don't need cams. Filbert used to have cams. I took them out because again, I didn't reap that much in the rewards in my power band. I had them on for about a year, and I took them out, put them in stock, and I think I enjoyed it a little bit better with stock cams versus aftermarket cams. I'm getting ready to go to a different turbo setup, which I'm gonna need cams now for it. Best cams for Autotech cams. If you want to get cams, 264, but you're gonna need to upgrade the springs. They're not drop-in. Okay, just so you guys understand what I just said. Cams for a VR6 or 1.8T, they're not 100% drop-in. You got to do some work. You can do it. Don't get me wrong, but there's a huge risk involved, and I'm not going to recommend a risk to you guys at all. But it is 100% doable just to dump some cams in. But if you guys are really adamant on just putting cams in, 264 cams is the biggest cam you can put. Not the biggest, but it is the street cam is what they call it. That is the drop-in cam for a VR6. Kind of the same duration also on a 1.8T. Again, 1.8Ts, their cams are extremely efficient. So not very much recommendations on cams unless you're going over 400 horsepower, then go for it. No, Nick, that's not too much for a 1.8T, not even close. I got bigger turbos than that. Filbert is on a way bigger turbo than that, and it barely spools it, but when it spools it, it is a fun drive. For cams, I mean, just put stock cams. You don't need to go bigger on for Ragu. You don't need bigger cams, you know? Cameron, yes, I am running Raxels on my 1.8T build. I run them. I've snapped one already. Cool thing is that they warrantied it out for me. They snapped because of my tires. It wasn't because of the axle, because my tires were too sticky. You got to be careful with running really, really sticky tires on front wheel drive cars. You run a high risk of snapping axles or blowing transmissions. So whenever you guys start building big horsepower engines, you're going to need to learn tires a lot. You go to Raxel.com. You don't go to a dealer, Cameron. You have to call them. You can't order direct because they're custom made. They're made to order. Raxels don't stock their axles. They make them. So when you order, you have to call them. You place an order, and then pretty much they make them. Usually about 2 to 4 weeks to get them. Raul, it's hard to tell you, dude. I don't know how your build is. I don't know your build. I can't recommend much. I paid, I think, $600. I think $600 for the set, or $800. I can't remember. It's been a while. I've had my Raxels for a long time. They're not cheap. I'm telling you that right now. They're not cheap at all. They're very, very expensive for what you're buying. But they will work. I'm just telling you that right now. They won't snap if you know what you're doing. All right, one more question for tonight, and I'm gonna call it a night. I'm tired. I gotta wake up in almost 2 in the morning here, so I gotta be up. Oh snap! In like 6 hours. So, one more question, guys. One more good question, and I'll answer it right now for you guys, and then I'm going to bed. I gotta go nights. All right, Nick Pryor. This is the last question for tonight. Where do I order my turbos from? Well, it depends. I order directly from the manufacturer or online, depending on the turbo I want. Now, I have a couple different turbos. I have an SPA turbo, I have a Garrett turbo, and I just ordered a Pulsar turbo and a Mamba turbo. I don't know which I'm going to keep. I talked to both manufacturers, and I'm telling them I'm not installing them, but I'm inspecting them, and then I'm going to pick out a turbo that I want to stay with. I'm probably going to stick with the Mamba turbo. I really like the ball bearing setup they offer, and that it's an internal wastegate versus an external wastegate. Way better to service, and just so much easier to plumb and just maintain. It just, I don't know why I ran an external wastegate. There's no reason for it. I think I prefer the internal wastegated stuff. They tend to just be so much more reliable. So I'm probably going to stick with the Mamba turbo, because again, the setup they offer on Mamba, they have a really, really nice internal wastegate that's good for 400 to 500 wheel horsepower with a ball bearing turbo for $1,000. I mean, if you think about that, a Garrett turbo that's ball bearing is like $1,200 to $1,600 depending on the horsepower range. $1,200 to $1,600. These guys for $1,000, I think almost $1,200. I think $1,200 after everything. Give you a turbo, oil, and coolant lines for a really, really fair price, and it's just legit. I mean, I get everything I need to install it, and all I gotta do is provide a manifold, and that's it. Which I have the manifold that I need. Now I just need the turbo, and it comes with all my fittings, everything I need to install it. It's amazing. The only thing is, I don't like the hardware they provide. If you guys are going to get into big turbos, the hardware I highly recommend is Stage 8. So STAGE and the number 8 hardware. Amazing fasteners for pretty much turbos, exhaust manifolds, downpipes. They have special locking mechanisms, so they don't back out. They'll never back out, and that's what you want when you run turbos and something that gets really hot. You want stuff like that because you don't want exhaust leaks. So again, Stage 8 hardware is phenomenal for big turbo applications. Super low maintenance. You just install it and forget it, honestly. I used to use the ARP studs with ARP nuts, and they would back out after 6-7 months of me using them. A lot of guys would recommend the drill through and run safety wire. I don't want that. I don't want to deal with that messiness of running wire and then crimping it. No. Stage 8, tighten it down, put the little thing that locks it in place, and then put your C-clip, and you're done. Phenomenal. So, thank you, Cameron. I appreciate that, buddy. Hopefully you guys do donate or become a Patreon member. You guys have an opportunity to win a fully built Jetta VR6. And then if you guys do join or donate to the Indiegogo, pretty much it's going to be a fully built whatever car you guys want. So thank you. Have a good day and good night. I'm going to go sleep. I am tired. I'm happy that the engine's done. It's time and just really got to put it all back together and paint it. And then I'll show you guys that tomorrow too, if I got some time. Thank you, Moldy. I appreciate that, buddy. My name's not Alan, by the way. It's actually Alviz. Alviz is actually how you spell my name. But a lot of people suck at saying my name, so I just go by Pinche Al. You guys have a wonderful night. Peace out. And as always, if you see another Deborah on the road, give him a thumbs up. Give him a deuces. Respect one another, please. And as always, here at Pinche Al's Garage, we're going to break, we're going to fix, and we're going to repeat. Peace out, everyone, and have a wonderful night. And from my family to yours, be safe and much love. Peace out, everyone. One more question. What time do I normally stream? 9 p.m. Pacific time. Just so you know. That's when I normally stream. But I typically don't announce it. I just do it. I know it's kind of sucky, but it's just how I do it because I don't have really a schedule for it.